Here we are again, and you probably watched the last one, which we talked largely around hope. And we were trying just to look at how hopeful were you, and we went through 10 categories, and that was spiritual, marriage stroke single, family and children, and we talked about work, if you how hopeful are you around that, ministry, if you have a ministry engagement you have, finances, how hopeful are you around that, physical, personal development, social, and recreation, hobbies, vacation, whatever that is. And so we looked at that, but today, it's, some people have said this, and you could agree with this, you might agree with me, hope is not a strategy. And everybody hopes for a good thing. We all hope for good things. We all hope for better days. We all hope for a lot of money. If you ask me, I hope to get so much money. But until you really break it down into something that you can work with, and even before that, I'd just like to probably, before I get to breaking it down, one of the greatest things that really helped me, and I don't know about you, but one of the greatest things that really helped me when I was going through a coaching conversation with my coach is to be able to dream. Now, some people are dreamers. Others are not. I don't know about you. Others struggle to dream. But others actually dream too much until you wonder what's going on with them. So I don't know where you fall. But I'd like to invite you to dream on each of these categories of your life. What's your dream around them? And how do you even go about this process of dreaming? And for example, when you think of your spiritual life, for example, what comes to your mind? What are your wishes? What are your thoughts? And don't shy away. Don't shy away from writing it down. Just write down. Oh, I'd like to be able to pray 20 times a day. I'd like to do this. Just write down. When you think of your finances, because this is very important. Finances always becomes a very key conversation to most people that I know. Of course, everybody, because without money, you can pay your bills and really you struggle. So when you think of your money, what's your dream? And just lift the lid. Don't limit yourself. Lift the lid. And just go and dream. What is the amount of money that if you made, you'd be happy? When you think of your work, what's the dream? What's your dream work? Imagine yourself working. You're working for someone or you're working for yourself. What's that dream? Think of your office. Think of the thing you want to see. What environment would you love to work on? When you think of your personal development, what's the dream? What's that dream that you have of your personal development? Do you imagine yourself doing PhD? Do you imagine yourself getting that certification that will then put you in a place where now people will be coming to look for you because you're an expert in that field? When you think of your social sphere, social circles, what's your dream? What are you dreaming about? What is it that you look at and like, I wish I would just be someone who can influence, have this number of friends, and my friends, we can hang out with them, and we can just go on and build each other in our friendship. When you think of your family, what's your dream? You think of your children, what's your dream? When you think of your marriage, what's the dream? And some of us, probably because of experiences we've gone through, we might struggle dreaming. We might struggle imagining that some things are possible, that it's possible to attain that. Please, for now, don't limit yourself. Just let yourself be. And take a piece of paper, write down what comes to mind. What is it that comes to mind when you think of these categories? What is it that comes to mind when you think of you going for a holiday? What comes to mind? Don't limit yourself. Just write. Going to Dubai, going to Hawaii, going to Turkana, going to whatever it is. Just write it down. And going to Turkana with a group of friends of mine and going to do this and just staying there for 1 week and never worrying about anything, but just relaxing and just having a good time. and eating the kind of food that I want and going for camel rides in whichever place, whatever. Just write it down. Because I believe that if you can write it down on a piece of paper, it gets it to another step. You move this to another step. It no longer just remains an imagination in your mind. It no longer just remains a wishful thinking. But what you've done is you've put it on a piece of paper. And it's no longer really just something that you keep forgetting and keep going. It is documented somewhere. So just do the jotting. And I've done this a few times. Sometimes I write things down. And when I write them down, I take 2 days, 3 days, and then go look at it. And when I look at it, sometimes it doesn't make sense. And when it doesn't make sense to me, then probably when I was thinking of it, I was just full of something. I was probably under influence of something. And that's why maybe now when I'm sober looking at it, it's not making sense. And then like, okay, well, good. But there are cases where I go and it still makes sense. It still comes to me and I feel like, yes, this is something that resonates with me. And when you read it and it resonates with you 2 days later, then don't take that for granted. Don't take that for granted. Because then it means that there's something in you that really would like to realize whatever you wrote down on a piece of paper. And so write it down, take 2 days, come back, read it. Read it word to word what you wrote and see if it's going to make sense to you. And if it does make sense to you, then I'd invite you to go a step further. To go further and do something about it. And we're going to talk about that something about it. Now, let me talk about those guys who, a little bit about those of us who might struggle dreaming. Because for those who don't struggle dreaming, you are sorted. You're okay. You can dream. But you're probably this category of guys who will struggle dreaming. And it's probably because there's something you went through that makes you believe, for me, my life is just like this. For me, I'm just this one. For me, I'm just okay. I'm just like this. Now, I was talking yesterday to a friend of mine, and we talked about something with him, and he brought something to light that I've never thought about. And this friend of mine, and of course, with his permission, I can say this friend of mine was talking about God has gifted us. But if you believe in this, I believe this will make sense to you. God has gifted us with, all of us, 3 things. One of them is time. We all have time. Of course, how you use it varies from one person to another, but we all have time. The second thing is skill. Now, we all have a skill. Now, think of, and when you imagine, probably I don't have a skill or no. As I was talking with him, we started think of a baby who is learning how to crawl. This baby had never seen anybody crawl. In the family, I believe nobody has gone in front of the baby to crawl so that the baby can see, then the baby can crawl. But from nowhere, you see a baby crawling. Now, you could think of that and say, it's biology at work and all those things. But just entertain this thought with me. The baby had never seen anybody crawl. Nobody has taught this baby how to crawl. I don't think if anybody who teaches a baby how to crawl. But this baby, out of nowhere, crawls and moves, and before you realize, is able to move and move and move and move, and of course get to walk and walk. And that can be basic thinking. But I want you to entertain that thought a little bit and imagine for a moment that even you, there is a skill in you that you can discover, and that can become the basis with which you are able to slowly unlock something and unlock something and unlock something and unlock a dream based on that skill. Of course, the other thing that we were discussing with this friend of mine is that we all have a body, physical body. And this can be in the aspect of even those around us, but our own body. Now, depending on how you view your body, this might vary for you from one to another. And so with those three things, it's possible to ask yourself, what lies be within my realm of possibility of putting into play my time, the skill that I'm yet to discover or I have discovered, and the body that I have. That I can then be able to go out there and do something. Now, and that's aside, but probably also you're not able to dream because you've gone through challenges. And you are the one who like, that's not possible, I can't do that. Oh, that's not possible, that's not possible. I'd probably invite you to have a chat with someone. Talk to someone about that. And maybe this person will help you realize things that you've never realized about what are the possibilities of how your life can be transformed. I wouldn't go further into that, but I'll leave it for here for this one. That if you're a dreamer, go ahead and dream on each of these categories of your life. If you're struggling with dreaming, think around the gifts that God has endowed you with, and that is your time, your body, and the skill that you have. Think about that. And if you're still struggling to dream, reach out to someone, have a conversation with someone. If you want us to talk about it, we can talk about it. And with that, I'd like to say thank you so much for listening. Until next time, have a wonderful, wonderful time, and go ahead and dream.